Here's a story I'd like to tell you. 10 years ago, I started trading Forex with a friend of mine, and we came up with this naive, smart idea. I told him that when I go long, I'll let him know, and he should go short on the same asset and at the same time. In other words, if I buy, he sells, and inversely, if I sell, he should buy. This way, if I lose, he wins, and if he loses, I win. At least one of us will be a winner. This interesting experiment started when I started trading. Obviously, at first, people think of it as an easy way to make money or a money-making machine. So I took few courses, read few books, and I also brought a friend of mine into this hobby who found the idea very appealing, so making money on his side. I managed to convince the guy to join me in making some extra money this way. But needless to say, the invested money went away. The courses didn't help much in real life, and my friend and I kept wiping our accounts regularly for more than 3 years. At that time, we still thought of trading as an easy thing to do, although we never really had sustainable profits. We were just unlucky for 3 consecutive years. So we came up with this smart idea where we go in opposite directions every time we were trading. This way, if I lose, my friend will win, and if he loses, I win. At least one of us will be a winner, and we would beat the market this way. Guess what? Again, we wipe both of our accounts. The reason I'm telling you this story is to highlight the importance of trade management. And this happens after the trade is opened. Most beginner traders are looking for the perfect magic indicator or the best signal out there, ignoring the trade management, which can affect most of our trading results. So the first point to keep in mind is that most of the trading happens after the trade is already opened. Here's the thing. The market is dynamic and can change in an hour or two, and so your trade conditions might have to change as well to follow the market. Putting a fixed take profit and stop loss levels is not enough. So it's a good start for any trade, but you need to make it more dynamic. And even if you have the best indicator in the world, it doesn't mean that your strategy will be profitable if you have a bad trade management. Imagine an indicator triggering a long signal at this particular point. The price goes up to reach your take profit at this point, and you had a great trade in this case. In a similar scenario, you get the same indicator triggering exactly the same long signal, but this time the price does go up for a while without reaching your take profit level, then reverses down and the trade is stopped, although it was a winner for a while. This is a frustrating situation where you can start regretting keeping the position opened, and this loss could have been avoided with a better trade management. Here's one example of a trade management approach to decrease losing risk. So imagine you get this same buying signal at this point. You take your position with a fixed stop loss and take profit levels. Then the price goes up, and on the way up, instead of waiting for the price to reach the take profit level, at this point you decide to cash half of your position already. So at least you have half of it in your pocket. You close half of the position midway between the buying price and the take profit price. For the other half, which is still opened, you modify the stop loss value to match the buying price. This way, in case the price goes down, you can break even and you still keep 0.5 as a return. In this scenario, there is no way your trade will cause you any losses in the future. So what happens next? If the price continues going up, you would still win the other half of your trade, but if it goes down, the trade will be stopped without any losses. This way you only keep a win of half of your initial position, which was closed earlier. So either you win 0.5 in this case, this is the worst case, or you can win the whole, which is the whole position. This is one of many ways you can manage your trades. In this video, we will test trade management ideas numerically using Python, just to show you how to do this in an algorithmic approach and to expose some of the differences between common examples. The first and simplest example that we can test is very basic, using a fixed stop loss and take profit values with a fixed take profit stop loss ratio. Then the second one, we can use a trail stop, where the stop loss value will be following the price as long as it's going in the same direction of the position. We can also include in our code closing half the positions when the price reaches half the take profit level. And as we have mentioned at the beginning of this video, we can also add the variation of modifying the stop loss level for the remaining half of the open position. We can also get ingenious and try to split the take profit level into 3 or more equal levels instead of 2. So this way we can close 1/3 of the open position on each of these levels. So in the rest of this video, I will show you how you can code all of these different trade management examples in Python and include these into your backtesting and your algorithmic trading. This is our code. This is Jupyter Notebook file that you can download from the link in the description of the video. So in the first cell, we are loading our data. So I'm loading this in Pandas data frame. I'm using the SP500 US dollar prices. It's a daily chart. So the daily time frame between 2017 and 2022. And this is the content of our data. So we have the time. We're not going to use it for this video. We have the open, high, low, close, and the volume. Then I'm using Pandas technical analysis package to compute the moving average. This is a simple moving average function, length 200. And I'm computing also the RSI with the length 2 because I used a strategy using the RSI. And we're going to show you I'm going to show you the equity of the strategy we're using the Bollinger Bands as well. These are the backtesting results. So we can have a positive increasing equity, as you can see, over the few years. I'm using the Bollinger Bands. It's a strategy published by Rainer Thieu using the Bollinger Bands, as we have said. So I'm going to show you the details of the strategy that I took as an example for this one. Along with the moving average and the RSI, I'm using the Bollinger Bands, length 20, standard deviation 2.5. And these are stored as new columns in our data frame. So if I scroll to the right, within the data frame, we have the prices, the volume, the moving average, the RSI, the lower band, the middle band, the upper band of the Bollinger, and so on. And the first part of the strategy is checking whether the candles are above or below the moving average. If these are above the moving average, we are looking for an uptrend and we are looking only for long positions, meaning we are only looking to buy in this case. And in the opposite case, where we have the candles below the moving average curve, we're looking for a downtrend and therefore we're looking only for sell positions. In this case, since we're using the daily time frame, I'm looking for 3 consecutive candles that are above or below the moving average to decide on the trend. So if we are in an uptrend according to the moving average rules, and at the same time the current candle is closing below the lower Bollinger Band line, then this is a buy signal because we're in an uptrend and the price retraced back below the lower curve of the Bollinger Band. And in the opposite direction, if the EMA or the moving average curve confirms a downtrend, then we're going to wait for the price to close above the upper line or the curve of the Bollinger Bands. This way it's retracing up and we expect it to bounce back down following the trend. So this is a sell position or a sell signal in our case. We will store these signals as an additional column in our data frame. So I'm going to confirm this. I will scroll to the right and check which is the last column in this case. So we have an order signal, which is the price at which we decide to enter the market according to our signal, taking into account both the EMA signal and the Bollinger Band signal. Just to note here that if the EMA is equal to 2, it means it's a buying or a long position signal. If it's equal to 1, which is not visible on these examples here, it's a selling signal, but it's not visible in the examples I'm showing here. We can obviously visualize those signals just to check if the code is working well or as expected. And I'm putting these purple points as signals. If the purple point is below the candle, it means it's a buying signal, it's a long position. And if it's above, it means it's a selling signal. Let's zoom into this one. So we can see small purple points here. So that's a signal. It means when this candle closed below the Bollinger Band and at the same time all the candles were above this moving average curve, so we are in uptrend, this retracement signals a potential future bounce of the price following the trend again. And this is what happens actually. This is a good signal. Most of the signals we're showing were successful. So after these signals, we can see that the price bounced back up. This one is a false signal. The price is retracing back. We are in an uptrend above the EMA curve or the moving average curve, but the price didn't bounce immediately up. It continued its retracement back down. So now that we are sure the signaling is working as intended and we don't have any flaws in our code, we can continue and backtest these strategies together with different trade management approaches. I'm using the backtesting.py package. The initial size of our position is 5% of our equity. And to exit the trades, to close those open positions, I'm waiting for the RSI to go above 50 if it's a long position. And in the opposite case, if I have a short position, I'm waiting for the RSI to go below 50. So this way we can close according to the RSI. And in order to avoid excessive losses, we're also putting a stop loss at the moment when we open the trade. So for buying positions, the stop loss is going to be equal to the signal, which is almost the price of the position opening divided by 2. In the case of a short position, so when we sell, we are putting a stop loss that is equal to the signal price where we sold our position times 2. So it should be above the market entry price. For the rest, I'm using $10,000 as a starting point, a margin of 1 to 100, no commissions, just to be able to compare this with other strategies that we already pre-tested on this channel. And I'm running this, and these are our results. So in total, we have 100% in return, so 106%, a maximum drawdown of minus 18%, which is huge. Just to, for a reminder here, if we decrease the margin, let's say 1/10 in this case, we can still keep some of our returns. So our returns now are 7.7%. However, the maximum drawdown is only minus 2%. So when you increase the margin or the leverage, you increase your returns, but also you're increasing your risk and your drawdowns. This should be considered when you are trading and opening your account. The win rate in this case is almost 89%, which is not bad. But the drawdown of this strategy, it doesn't open as many trades as you can. So the whole number of trades is 9 over a few years of data. So if we go back to our data file, the CSV file, we can see that it's between 2017 up to 2022. So I think it's barely around 2 trades per year. Okay, now we can backtest using different trade management approaches like we have described at the beginning of the video. So I'm taking exactly the same conditions. So 5% of the equity as an entry position, the same signal, exactly the same signal. I'm just going to change how we exit the trade using the take profit and stop loss values. For this example, I'm taking a stop loss that is equal to the closing price of the current candle minus the same price times a certain percentage. So for example, minus 2% of the current price. That's the difference of my stop loss. In this case, my stop loss is separated from my current entry price by 2% of the price itself. So that's one way of putting a stop loss value. Then the stop loss difference is the absolute value between the stop loss 1, so whatever was computed here, minus the closing price. That's just the distance between the entry position and the stop loss. And I'm going to use this difference, the stop loss difference, to compute the take profit. The take profit is computed using the take profit stop loss ratio, which is set to 2 in this case. So my take profit is twice the distance of the stop loss. And I have a second take profit because I'm going to split my position into 2 slices. One is going to be closed earlier than the other. So the first one will have a take profit that is equal to twice the stop loss distance. And the second one, which is going to be closed earlier, has a take profit that's equal exactly to the stop loss difference. So we're not using the take profit stop loss ratio for the second slice of for the second take profit, for example. Okay, so now when I want to open the position, I'll not open one position, I will open 2 positions, considering that these are 2 half positions. So the first one, I'm going to buy with stop loss 1, but I'm using take profit 1 and the same size, so 5%, 0.05 of my current equity. And the second one, I'm going to open a second position, same stop loss, only the take profit is different. I'm using the TP2 here, okay? And also 5% of the current equity. So all in all, I'm opening 10% of the current equity and split these into 2. Both are using the same stop loss value, but one will be closed earlier and the other one we will gamble and wait for it to fulfill twice the take profit stop loss ratio. Okay, I hope this makes sense at this point. The opposite direction is the same. So when we have a sell position. We also have 2 take profits and 1 stop loss value. And we can compute this, we can backtest using exactly the same conditions as before, just to be able to compare these together. So I'm having $10,000 in cash and a margin of 1/100. Let's run this and check the results. So in this case, we have a return of 81%. It's less than the 106% we got previously using the RSI. However, let's check the drawdown and compare the maximum drawdown value. So we have minus 18% and an average drawdown of minus 5.6% in the previous one. And in this one, we have minus 37% of maximum drawdown and minus 13% of an average drawdown. This is, I think this is not doing better than the previous one, the previous strategy using the RSI as a trade management tool. Now we can move on to the third variation. So we're also using 5% as an initial position size. We're using the take profit stop loss ratio of 2. Changing the percentage to 0.08, we can actually, let's put it the same. So if it was 2% here for the stop loss, I'm going to put it 2% as well. And the difference here is this part that we can see here. So remember that we're opening 2 positions at the same time, taking 2 take profits that are different. One is going to be closed earlier than the other. In both cases, long and short positions. But in this case, I should always have 2 opened positions on the market unless one was closed. So if one is closed and I'm left only with 1 opened position on the market, I'm going to change its stop loss value and I'm going to put it, to set it to be equal to the entry price. This is the break-even strategy or approach of trade management that we have discussed at the beginning of this video. And it's an easy way to include it in our trade management approach or backtesting approach. So just if you notice that we have only 1 trade opened on the market, it means that the second half of our position was closed. And in this case, we can just modify the stop loss of the remaining position on the market and put it equal to the entry price. Again, I'm taking exactly the same conditions, $10,000 and 1/100 as a margin. We're going to run this one and check the results. So in this case, we have a return of minus 6.7%, so we don't have any returns. Drawdown of minus 34%, so that's not doing as good as before. I need to mention something here. It all depends on the strategy you're trading, on your indicators. It doesn't mean that these different approaches will always behave this way. I mean, it's always nicer or more profitable to take the RSI as an exit strategy. That's not true. And it's not always in negative if you use this break-even strategy. It depends on what indicator you're using, which asset you are trading, and what are the market conditions. This is why backtesting is very important in this case. So for example, if I put the percentage of the stop loss distance to 8% in this case, and I rerun this strategy, I can go as a return. We can go up to 321% with a drawdown of 80%. That's really bad. I wouldn't advise anyone to trade with such a large drawdown, but just to illustrate how things can change while you are changing these parameters altogether. So I will not go further in this video because I think the message is there. You know how to test these different trade management approaches. You can include these in your backtesting in Python and check the results. And that's all I had to tell you for this one. I hope you guys liked it. So if so, please support the channel, leaving your comments below. Until our next one, trade safe and see you next time.